What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jergunzza. So, as you guys can see from the bucket right here, we saw Alien Romulus. Go ahead, take a look at that. Go ahead, look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Let me spin it around. Look at it. And respect it. So, as you can see, I saw Alien Romulus. This is made by, I believe his name is pronounced Fred Alvarez, I believe. Basically the same guy who he directs these movies, but he writes these movies with, I think it's his brother or really best friend. You might know them from other movies such as the 2013 Evil Dead remake. They made that. They made that movie Don't Breathe, So they have a pretty decent track record as far as horror goes. The only bad movie they've ever made was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was on Netflix a couple years ago. But that was very made well aware that that's not even their fault. What happened, that was studio interference. They changed a lot of things up. It wasn't even their movie anymore. So that's not even on them. So as far as I'm concerned, they have a pretty good track record. Anywho, Alien Romulus, as of course, we're going to keep it spoiler free at the beginning, because I'm going to talk about some spoilers at the end of this video. Alien Romulus takes place 20 years after the very first Alien movie, when Ripley shoots the xenomorph alien out into space, right? And basically, there's a crew of people, a group of young people who are trying to, steal some of those pods that help you, that put you in a cryo sleep while you go somewhere for many amounts of years. One thing I'll say is when I saw the trailers for this movie, and I noticed that there's a character name in there named Andy, right? The black guy. And I knew he was a droid, right? But I saw the way how he was moving and acting that he seems like he's gonna be kind of special needs. And going to the movie, I was thinking to myself, how the hell are they going to explain having an android, right? But no, because let's talk about this. Who makes an android with special disabilities, special need abilities? I was like, how are they even going to explain that? But, watching the movie, it made sense. He was an android that the main character, her father, found him in the trash. He was basically on one of the scraps, and her father salvaged what he could and made his priorities to protect the child, his daughter, the main character. So, it wasn't that bad. They're going to the ship to steal these pods to basically, be able to get out of there. And it's no ship. But what they find out is that this crew who's dead on the ship, they find out that this crew was part of a crew that went looking for that alien from the first movie that Ripley shot out in space. And shit went sideways. They thought the alien was dead because it's been out there for 20 years. No food, nothing like that. They underestimated the motherfucker. He was alive, killed all of them, made new eggs, all that, of course, all that, One thing I want to get into. The crawlers, the violators is what why I call them, because they violate you. They have never been more scary in any of the movies that they've been in. I have never been more terrified of those things than I have when I was watching this movie. They are nightmares. And also, I want to give props to the crew who made this movie, because they really pride themselves on making this movie practical effects. No CGI, none of that. They did everything practical. They said they wanted to be practical and feel real. And, so you don't get taken out of it oh, it's just from a computer generated. And I applaud them. The crawlers were remote control. I remember I was watching the thing. They were controlling the crawlers with remote controls, remote control cars. The xenomorph alien, they were in an actual person in the costume, looking like the actual aliens. It was great. I really felt like that immersed us into a fear that we haven't felt for the xenomorph aliens for decades, honestly, at this point. I don't think we've felt this scared from the aliens for about over 2 decades now, almost 3 actually. This movie is definitely worth the watch on the IMAX screen. It is visually beautiful. And yeah, so get into that before I get into the spoiler part. If you want my review without spoilers and my rating, I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. This is a really well made film. The aliens look better than ever. I have not enjoyed an alien film like I have, and I love all the alien films. I didn't watch the third one, but I love all of them. I even like Aliens Resurrection, right? This is the best Alien since the first Alien movie, and I still like Aliens, the second one. But as far as the horror aspect goes, this is the best one. Getting into the spoilers. So, like I said, they go on this ship trying to get these pods, so they can leave, right? They're trying to steal these pods. The part where the crawlers were going crazy as fuck, like when we first started going crazy, was insane in my opinion. And you got Andy, who's like the special need droid. They put like this reboot card in him because they used one of these reboot cards from this other droid they found on the ship that was fucked up, and they need help with some information unlocking the doors. So they put this disc in, his stuff so he can get the information. They didn't expect that this disc from that other droid was gonna fuck Andy up, and he's just he's still sort of the same droid, but he has different priorities now, and he talks different. He talks more intelligent, right? That was an interesting aspect, seeing him basically battle them and making sacrifices that they didn't want to make. That was interesting. But anywho, the first alien that popped out of the chest, that we saw pop out of a chest, that was brutal. It felt painful, and I thought it was executed very well. These crawlers in this movie, there's a scene in this movie where they have to walk through a whole, a room full of the crawlers, and they realize that the only way these crawlers can't see, but they can sense your body heat, right? So they make the room the same temperature as their body heat. And so they're walking through the room and gotta be careful. They gotta be quiet. They can't talk. They can't, start sweating. They can't get goosebumps if they get too scared. They can sense when you get frightened. So it was a really tense scene. That whole scene gave me the creeps. That was crazy. When we first saw the xenomorph alien, and it does take a while till we see it, that was probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen in an alien movie in a very long while. Just the way how they presented it. And when you think somebody's safe, trust me, they're not safe. So basically we find out that the droid who they got the disc card from, because they turn him back on, come to find out, I forgot his name, the original android from the very first Alien movie, the one who was going crazy talking about we must save the alien and do what's best for the company and all that, right? That fucking droid, they brought him back. He's in here on that same bullshit once again. This is a good callback to what the horror of Alien, the first Alien movie, was, and I enjoyed every single bit of it. And when we saw there was multiple, there was a scene in here, there was a shot in here that I thought was so fucking crazy, where they find out it's not just one alien on this ship, it's multiple of them, right? And there's another alien looking at the pathway. He just fucking stands up right straight, and while he's standing up, he's got all those crawlers walking just running around him going chasing the humans. That scene, that shot was crazy. I need that as a poster. Oh, characters are dying, of course. There was this one idiotic character who I fucking couldn't stand, and I was happy when he died, because he pissed me off. He was a dick the whole movie, and he was a dick even to the death, low-key. All that's left basically is Andy the android, the Mexican girl from Madam Web, which, good for her, man, because after what happened to Madam Web, good for her. She finally has a good movie that she played in this year, right? And she was pregnant in the film, so that you're oh, her character, she's got to be safe. There's no way they're going to kill a pregnant woman. Yeah, think again. We get to a point where the only people who are left is Andy the android, who's back to normal now, the main character woman who he's supposed to take care of, and the pregnant girl, the Mexican girl from Madam Web. And it's over. The reviews for this movie was oh, Alien Romulus is one of the best installments in the franchise, and it has an insane final act, right? And I thought they were overhyping that final act shit. And then when the movie was going off, I was like, wow, I knew they were over. I mean, it wasn't bad, but like, this final act wasn't all that damn crazy. And the movie was not over. Just when we thought it was about to be over with, Mexican girl, pregnant Mexican girl. So there's this like stuff that they were working on in the station. They found out that these aliens have some type of stuff in their DNA, like the crawlers. They have some type of stuff in their DNA that can help humans, basically resurrect them or heal them, probably be the answer to immortality. And they seen that they tested this stuff, and they need to get this stuff back. That's what like the android's mission was after he put the chip in his thing. He was working for the company at that point, right? And homegirl, Mexican girl, the Mexican girl who was pregnant, she was fucked up, right? She was fucked up, losing a lot of blood, and she's got like those samples of the things that like regenerated this rat they tested on. The rat was dead and it came back to life. What they didn't see when they left out the room is that the rat, something happened to the rat. It got fucked up. Like, it was all fucked up and whatnot. It wasn't normal no more. So, Mexican girl, she's like, they didn't want to use it because they didn't trust it, but she did it anyways. So she injected herself with it, and it did heal her. She seemed okay. And just when we thought the movie was getting ready to close off, she starts having a seizure and shit in the pod, and then they open the pod up and get her out. Her stomach was like full on pregnant then. And she had like one of the most disgusting, gruesome, brutal looking births. I've never witnessed a birth in real life, and a fucking egg, like a giant egg, came out of her, and she's telling homegirl, "Get that thing away from me." And that whole scene was just disgusting and brutal. So she's trying to get the egg out of there, and she's trying to like put it in the area so she can launch it onto space. But the egg has like some of that acid shit in it, so it starts burning her and she drops it. And then in the egg, right before like the acid goes through the floor into the next thing, we see that it's like a human baby in the egg. And then we started going like, what the fuck? We didn't see it clearly, but we saw it was a human baby. So the girl goes down into where the egg went at. She's like in this creepy dark area, and we see something move in the background. Look, we didn't see it fully. We just kind of saw it, and it was crazy as hell. We go back to the Mexican girl who was just kind of weak and on the floor, and then the android, Andy, he comes down there to see was like, what's going on, right? And then, fucking lights are off and shit, and there's like only like the flashing light that's going on. And they look back. The most nightmare fuel alien you can ever think of. I'm talking like, imagine, you ever seen a movie called Splice? Remember that creature that what they turned to at the end or whatever it was? Imagine that movie Splice mixed with a xenomorph alien. And that's what you got here. Now that might sound stupid, but it was haunting. It was disturbing to look at. And the way how this thing was moving and how tall it was, and like it has like this human face and this human body and all that, but like not a human body. It's like a xenomorph body as tall as hell. He's got this tail. This motherfucker was a demon. And then like he killed the Mexican girl, so she didn't live. He's like draining her blood or drinking her blood or some shit, like on some vampire shit. And he fucks up the android by like just bitch, oh, like slice his neck. But the android is like okay for the most part, I think. Anywho, and so we get that whole final act where it's like the main girl fighting that crazy ass alien, where like I don't know what we're gonna call it. It was like it was a breed of human and xenomorph. It was insane. So in that final act, that final like even when you thought the thing was dead and how it was just still there, like scared the piss out of me. She jumped too, But with that being said, I really enjoyed this movie. It really fucked me up. I think this is probably the second best alien movie that there is out of the whole series. So go see it. 8.5 out of 10. Watching in IMAX. Visually beautiful. Y'all take care.